where Abraham barters for Sodom?
Sodom.
What did I just say?
Saddam, as in Hussein.
I would like you to clip this and put it at the beginning.
Yeah, that's the one.
It definitely is. Okay, so Abraham is pleading for Saddam.
No, Sodom.
Sodom. Why am I doing that? I just need to say Sodom and Gomorrah, because if I do Saddam Hussein,
Just say Sodom.
Sodom. Is it spelled the same?
No.
I know. Saddam.
No.
Sodom. Abraham pleads for Sodom.
You got it. Good job, buddy.
I had to pause. Sodom. Abraham pleads for Sodom. Okay, we're going to turn to chapter 18 in Genesis and talk about Abraham pleading for Sodom. You should just do this one. I'm going to do it over and over again.
You look me right in the eyes.
And talk about Abraham pleading for Sodom. I'm not trying to do this, I swear.
You were so confident. You were so confident. You looked right at me and you go, Genesis 18, Sodom.
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 You're going to cut and paste this. If we use this one, we're probably going to use the other one.
We're going to see what happens.
There's tears in our eyes and woo, Jen's been crying. Yeah, she can't say Saddam.
No, she can't. Just remember, the emphasis is on the first syllable, not the second.
Sodom. Yes.
Sodom, not Saddam.
I'm gonna say it all broken up like that, and you're just gonna have to keep a straight face. If you can. All right. 5.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, we're going to get to our last example of chapter 18 in Genesis.
Okay.
Where Abraham pleads for Sodom. When the men got up to leave, they looked down towards Sodom. I can't believe it. I'm like, yes, I got past it.
You were so proud, and then you went right back to the mud.
It's like the sheep coming out of the ditch. You pull him out, and he just jumps right back.
You want me to do it?
I kind of do.
Okay. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Other Talking Red podcast. My name is Ryan, and I'm the lead pastor here at Hillsborough Church of the Nazarene.
And my name is Jennifer Redshaw. I'm the youth pastor here at Hillsborough Church of the Nazarene.
So, Jen, what are we talking about today?
Should we bargain with God?
Yeah, should we bargain with God? I think that's a question we can all relate to. Mm-hmm. We have found ourselves in situations in life, whether we are dealing with a need, a want, we're coming from a place of fear or insecurity. We try to find something that we can offer to God mm-hmm. in exchange for receiving something back.
Yeah, it gives us a fake feeling of control. Yeah.
So I metaphorically sit across the table from God and I say, I will offer you this mm-hmm. if you give me this in return.
Yep.
Why is that problematic?
That's problematic because that's assuming that he doesn't already have what you have to offer.
Right.
And it's not recognizing the one-sidedness of our relationship with God. He has all the chips.
Yeah.
He has all the power. If he wants it, he could just take it at any time. We've got nothing.
So there are examples of this very process happening in Scripture. Mm-hmm. Occasionally, somebody likes to bring up, well, people bargained with God in the Bible and it went well for them. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some of those.
Okay. Let's get into it then.
Yeah. So one of the first ones I think of is Genesis chapter 32. Mm-hmm. And in Genesis chapter 32, Genesis tells the story of the origin of God's people, mm-hmm. of the creation of the universe, but actually creation occupies a very small part of Genesis. Mm-hmm. It's less than 5% of the total narrative. Most of the narrative is talking about the creation of the people Israel. Mm-hmm. So God calls Abraham, he gives him this covenant. In that covenant, I'm going to make you very numerous. You're going to have a lot of descendants, even though you're an old man and have no kids. They're going to be as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. I'm going to give you a great name that 4,000 years later, they're still going to be talking about. I'm going to give your people a land to live in. God makes all these promises. Abraham and Sarah end up having a son, which is a miracle.
Yeah.
And then Isaac goes on to have 2 sons, Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
Jacob, in the original Hebrew, his name means ankle grabber or heel grabber, because when he came out of his mother's womb, they were twins. He was grabbing his brother's heel. But in the ancient Near East, heel grabber was an idiom for a deceiver or a trickster. And this proved to be true in Jacob's life. Jacob was a deceiver. At a young age, he deceives his brother and gets his right to the inheritance. Then he deceives his father and secures the blessing that was supposed to come from Isaac to Esau. The way the narrative's kind of going, we think maybe Esau is going to be the son of promise, that God's covenant to Abraham is going to be carried on through Esau because he's the loyal son and Jacob's the trickster. Jacob steals that, and his brother becomes so enraged, he decides he's going to kill Jacob. He's going to wait for his elderly father to die, and then he's going to murder his brother. So he makes camp. He's sitting at the fire. It's the dead of night. He's preparing to meet his brother in the morning. And this really weird thing happens. This mysterious stranger, this guy just out of nowhere, in my mind, I can just see Jacob sitting at the fire. You know, when you're camping and it's like, you realize how dark it is and the shadows and the flames dancing on the bushes and the trees and everything. And then you just hear this as these feet are running towards you, and this guy just emerges from the darkness, out of nowhere, tackles Jacob and starts fighting him. And Jacob wrestles with this mysterious stranger all through the night. And so they get to the morning, and the mysterious stranger wants to leave. But Jacob has him in some kind of a chokehold, full Nelson kind of thing, and won't let him go. So he reaches down and touches Jacob's hip, and something miraculous happens. The joint is twisted, and now Jacob's going to have a limp for the rest of his life. But he still won't let go. The heel grabber doesn't let go. So in Genesis 32, 26 through 28, then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "You will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." Interesting.
Yeah.
So in that line, the man reveals Jacob is not just wrestling with a guy. He's wrestling, and theologians and scholars and rabbis have debated the identity of the mysterious stranger for centuries. Some say it's God in the flesh. Some say it's an angel or a prophet, another representative of God. Some Christians have suggested it's Jesus before the incarnation. He came down, and apparently our Lord skipped leg day, which is why he couldn't fight off Jacob. But whatever the case may be, this is God's representative. Jacob wrestles with literally wrestles with God, God's representative, throughout the night. And then he starts trying to bargain with him. "Let me go. I'll let you go if..."
You tell me your name.
"Well, you bless me."
Yeah, bless me.
If you bless me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then they change names. Jen, explain to us what's going on here.
Okay, so with the bargaining, of course, Jacob's trying to get some sort of promise that tomorrow he's not going to die when it comes to Esau. And the ironic thing is, even with God's reply, he doesn't promise him that at all. He doesn't release him of it. If anything, he's already made him a gimp so he can't run away. And he can't really wiggle his way out of this. But he does give him a blessing. It's a one-sided blessing. Jacob doesn't give him anything in return. And
Well, he lets him go, right?
God has already proved that he can make him a gimp. He can make him lame from just a touch. Can you imagine if he really wanted to put his power into it right now?
Turn him into a pretzel.
Exactly. Yeah. And once again, he could still bless him and then just end him right there, because that would pass on to his kids.
Right.
So Jacob isn't even in power in this moment.
No.
But there's that feeling that maybe he is.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's meeting Jacob where he's at, where his mindset's at. But God does give him a blessing, and that is he is Israel. He has struggled with people and he has overcome. So it's very one-sided, but it's one of those things that when we make a bargain with God and we have this anticipation, we can't perceive God's side of it.
Right. So there is a tradition in the Hebrew Bible especially where God changes someone's name as a form of blessing and promise. Yeah. So Abraham was originally Abram. He became the father, the high father to the father of many, is what his name change means in the Hebrew. Here, Jacob has been known as Yaakov, the deceiver, his whole life. Can you imagine if your name was liar, or your name was deceiver, or your name was something like that, and every time someone calls you by name, oh, you're the guy I can't trust.
Yeah.
It's in your name.
It's your identity. It comes before you.
And it's your reputation, it's everything. And God says, okay, I'm going to change your reputation.
Yeah.
This is one of those things I think about. So Jacob was a trickster who gets tricked. And it almost feels like in that moment, God is trying to teach him something, but he keeps on.
Yeah.
Like, Jacob is going through life wrestling everybody he comes up against.
Yeah.
And then he finally comes up against someone he can't conquer.
Yeah.
But he overcomes, not in the sense of being victorious, but in the sense of fighting through it.
Yeah.
So he wrestles God's representative through the night, literally trying to, I mean, this is as close of a metaphor as you can get of trying to hold a gun to God's head. It's just not going to do anything.
No.
He tries to wrestle him through the night, and he says, okay, this is a metaphor. You get that, right? And with just a touch, I can take away your strength. You don't come to the table with anything, Jacob, and you keep trying to fight people. And now you're even trying to bargain with me. I can make you let go anytime I want. But this mysterious stranger is God's representative. He has been sent for a purpose. It's not that Jacob stumbled on to another guy and tackled him and it was a surprise. This guy was sent expressly to wrestle Jacob and to teach him something.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. We could look at this and say, okay, Jacob bargains. What does he offer? Freedom for a blessing.
Yeah.
That's what he offers. Truth is, he doesn't have freedom to offer because the representative, the angel, whoever, can take it like that.
Yeah.
But he does receive something in return. That's a changed identity, transformation. And it does then lead to the name of the nation, which came from him, Israel.
Yeah.
And in a lot of sense, as you read through the rest of Scripture, Israel keeps on fighting with God and men and enduring.
Yes.
But in this situation, it's not really a bargain that works out.
No.
Because Jacob did not offer something that God needed. God gave Jacob what God had already decided he wanted to give him.
Yeah.
And you can look at hindsight and say, see, I won the bargain. He blessed me, I let him go. I bargained with God. No, you received what God was already planning to give you, and God let you think you had a modicum of control. It's not really a bargain that works out well with God.
No.
Right. So that's one example. Now let's go to a different example that I think is sweeter. Like Jacob's, he's in fear, he's in survival mode. And he wants, and I guess the name change would give him some confidence in that the next day, he's going by the name Israel now, he who wrestles with God and men and overcomes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still wrestling with his brother, right? So he's gonna endure, he's gonna overcome. There's some reassurance there. The next example we're gonna go to is in 1 Samuel chapter 1, and it's the story of Hannah. Hannah is a Jewish woman who comes to the shrine at Shiloh. This is before there was a temple in Israel. They still had this shrine at Shiloh where you'd go to worship. There's a priest there named Eli, and he comes across this woman who is praying very fervently and quietly to herself, which makes Eli think she's drunk.
Yep.
She's not. She's just praying really powerfully. And she's weeping, and it's not that she has an interchange with God where she tries to bargain with him, but she offers a bargain. She makes a vow. And in 1 Samuel 1:11, and Hannah made a vow saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. So Hannah's problem is she hasn't been able to have a kid. She is also in a polygamous relationship, and the other wife is having kids, which places her in a place of dishonor. Her husband, Elkanah, has tried to elevate her by giving her double portions at dinner, by expressing his love, but it's not enough for Hannah, and she really wants to be a mother.
Yeah. She wants to fulfill that oath that has been given at the beginning, be fruitful and multiply, because that's like what she brings to the table in that tradition.
Yeah, back then it wasn't about romance, it was about building a family, and if you're not building a family, you're not carrying out your duty.
Yeah.
So she feels like she's failing.
Yeah.
And that if a couple was having a hard time having kids in the ancient Near East, they figured if you were Jewish, it was God. If you were pagan, it was the gods. Have closed her womb as punishment for something. Yeah. She's cursed. And in order to have children, that curse has to be alleviated. So she comes to God, God, you're not letting me have kids for some reason. I will, if you just let me have a son, I will give him back to you.
Yeah.
So she offers up this theoretical unborn child for life.
Yeah.
Is this a bargain that works out?
It's not one where she is actually doing anything because she doesn't even have the son yet. So she has nothing to bargain with at this point. It's a promise to something in the future. But there is this moment with Hannah that I appreciate, which is just one, the lamentation, but two, the surrender. And Hannah does have to, in that surrender, or recognize that she has nothing to give. And so she offers up her firstborn, which traditionally would have been the Lord's anyway. Not that all firstborns had to go into the temple and learn all those things at this point in time, but it was supposed to be one that was dedicated to God.
Right. That's part of the Old Testament law. After, as early as Passover,
Yeah.
The story from Exodus, because God saved Israel, his firstborn, out of Egypt, every firstborn son must be dedicated to the Lord with a sacrifice.
Yeah, but she goes a little bit further and she says there's not going to be a razor that touches his head and he will be dedicated to your house. And so that's going a little bit further. She still doesn't have power, though. She doesn't have any sort of authority. She's begging God to remember her.
Right.
So it is more of asking for a gift than I see as than a bargain.
Well, I mean, I do think she is bargaining, but I think from God's perspective, because she says, if you will, then I will. But from God's perspective, I do think he looks on this differently than a lot of other bargains, because it's like, she's coming with humility. She's coming with sincerity. She's not offering something I couldn't get for myself. There are a lot of dudes out there I can call to be prophets. I can call to be priests. It doesn't have to be Samuel. But maybe because of this circumstance, or maybe it was God's plan all along, that Samuel would be the guy who would become priest of Shiloh and then lead Israel as the final judge of Israel and then anoint King Saul and anoint King David and do all the mighty things that he did in his term. Maybe her humility had something to do with that. And Samuel did become a highly honored man in Israel, so it brought a great amount of honor to the family, reversing that shame. And so there is something, God saw something here that he said, I want to bless this. But it was still a gift. She doesn't even have the kid yet, and she's already offering him up. But God could have gotten that servant from anywhere. God is the one who decides that this kid comes into existence. It's all, again, it all comes back to she doesn't have anything to offer.
And if Hannah didn't do this and didn't go through this with Eli, and she gave birth to a kid anyway, God could have sent Eli to go collect the kid anyway.
Burning bush. There's a lot of ways to call a prophet.
There's a lot of ways that this could have come out, but Hannah's willingness to be a part of it is wonderful. And so I get how you say it would be a bargain. I see it as more of asking for a gift, but...
I mean, in any event, it's not really a bargain where God is the loser.
No.
In this situation, God's will is carried out, and God remains in control of the entire process, not Hannah. He doesn't need her.
No.
He chooses her, which is powerful. Okay, so those are two examples. We have the first example of Jacob wrestling with a mysterious stranger and coming from a place of insecurity. We have Hannah who presents herself very humbly and asks for a gift to meet her need. Now let's go to a story of the really dark side of bargaining and how it can go very, very wrong. Let's go to the story of Jephthah in Judges 11. So Jephthah is raised up to be a judge over Israel. Judges were leading Israel in the time between entering the promised land and the kings. They were tribal leaders, they were military, political leaders, and sometimes spiritual leaders. In the case of Jephthah, Jephthah was not a spiritual leader. Jephthah was a thug. He was a criminal who surrounded himself with criminals, but he was good at fighting. And so God chooses him, raises him up to go and fight the Ammonites. Jephthah wants every security, every assurance that he's going to be victorious. And so he makes a foolish vow. Again, he does not sit down to the table and have a conversation with God. He doesn't pray. He just makes a vow. He puts it out there, kind of like Hannah did, and says, this is what I'm going to do if you do blank.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually consider what God wants in this scenario, which is how it goes dark. Judges 11:30-31 says, and Jephthah made a vow to the Lord. If you give the Ammonites into my hands, whatever comes out of the door of my house to meet me when I return in triumph from the Ammonites will be the Lord's, and I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering. When Jephthah comes home, he does go fight the Ammonites. He is successful. When he comes home, first thing to come out of the house to greet him is his beloved daughter.
Which is just awful. Terrible.
You read it, the first time I read it, I remember I read it first time I was a teenager, I think, or an older kid. My heart sank back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, he's not gonna go through with it.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He murders his daughter and burns her as a sacrifice to God, which tells us a few things. One, it's a reminder that human sacrifice was a relatively normal practice in the ancient Near East, particularly in Canaan. But two, Jephthah is not a hero. He is not someone, just because he's presented as a leader, he had potential, he went the wrong way. He was a thug. And he clearly did not know who God is. Because if he knew who God was, if he had actually studied his Torah, knew the stories, knew the history, he would know that throughout the Torah, throughout the Old Testament law, the law of Moses, in many places it says, do not sacrifice your children to God. This is an abomination in his eyes. Do not cast them into the fire. It doesn't matter. Do not burn your children. It's a very specific command. Like we read that today and go, that seems on a lighter note. Funny story from when I was in college. These guys decided to pull a prank. We had these apartment buildings that we lived in when we were upperclassmen.
Yeah.
And there was a crawl space that would go between the different units of the apartment for maintenance.
Oh, okay.
A couple guys decide they're going to freak the girls out by going up into the crawl space, sneak down through their crawl space, and then jump out at them. And so while they're doing this, they had to walk on the rafters, because if you didn't walk on the rafters, it's just drywall for the ceiling. One guy slipped off the rafters and went through dangling two legs. And the girl's in there, she's like, ah! Like she flipped. I mean, I'd flip out too. It was just, koosh, and then there's two legs. Like, so when they called over the resident director, they're standing there looking at the hole in the ceiling, and you know, if you broke the rules at our college, there was a fine associated. And they asked her, so is there a fine for this? And she said, no, but there will be. And then a rule got added to the books, and a fine was established. If there's a rule, it's probably because someone did it in the past. Makes you wonder those weird laws that like it's illegal to fish off the back of a rhinoceros or something. Someone had to do it. So it became a law. The reason why the Old Testament talks in the Torah so much about don't sacrifice people, it's because it happened. And they had to be told this is not... Jephthah did not pay attention to Sunday school, apparently.
No.
And the reason why he carries this out, we look at this and we say, okay, he made a vow, so what? We break our promises, we make promises we can't keep, you break it. He sacrificed his daughter, what's he thinking? He probably believed that if he broke his vow, God would kill him. So he had to choose between himself and his daughter. And he chose himself. Now, maybe he was afraid that if he broke his vow to God, the impact would impact the whole nation. I don't get that altruistic sense from Jephthah. So he sacrifices his daughter, and it's this really ugly story. And Jen is actually, when we were talking earlier, made an interesting comparison to King Saul and his son Jonathan. Talk a little bit about that. That was a good comparison you made.
So Jonathan, well, no, let's back to Saul. Saul made a vow that if anybody eats something while they're trying to catch up to the Ammonites,
Was it the Ammonites? I can't remember who it was. It was an Ite.
It was an Ite. And whoever eats
It was an Ite or an Een.
would be killed. And he was trying to show his own might. He did make a vow to God, but he was showing the might of people and of his authority. And Jonathan, of course, during this didn't hear about it. And then when he comes back, he sees some honey, he eats it, and he feels better. And everybody around is like, Jonathan, you weren't supposed to do that. He's like, why not? Look at how bright my eyes are now that I've nourished myself. This was a foolish thing to do. Well, something happens and Saul has to figure out who broke the rules, and he finds out it's Jonathan. He immediately is like, Jonathan, I got to kill you. And all the soldiers become between Saul and Jonathan and said, no, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
The reason he doesn't know, for one, is he was out sacking an outpost, just him and his shield bearer.
Yeah.
He was doing your work.
Yeah.
And now you want to kill him. We're not going to let you do that.
Yeah, so it's an interesting comparison, right?
Yeah.
Even though, so Saul makes this foolish vow.
Yeah.
Anyone in the army, it was the Philistines.
It
That's
was
who
the
they were
Philistine,
fighting.
yeah.
So they go out to fight the Philistines. They're chasing him down, and he says he wants to push his troops.
Yeah.
He wants to make them earn it. I think about like a basketball coach who makes you run lines, then you
Yeah.
do practice, and if you screw up, you have to run more lines, and he won't let you stop until you get the play right.
I've done that and thrown up because
And you
of
get
it.
more and
Yeah.
more exhausted, and you play worse and worse, but you're going to learn a lesson, right? It's almost
Yeah.
like in the movie, Remember the Titans, where he won't let them drink water?
Yes.
Water washes blood off my uniforms, and you don't get blood on my uniforms, right?
Yeah.
So it's that tough.
Yeah.
No one eats until this battle is done.
Yeah.
And if anybody eats, I'll kill him.
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan's off sacking a Philistine outpost. He's becoming a war hero.
Yeah.
Him and his armor bearer take down 20 guys.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. Take down 20 guys. They come back. He's tired. He sees some honey. He eats it.
Yeah.
He got his Gatorade in him. He's ready to go. And he says, what a fool. Like, he finds out later that his father
Yeah.
made this vow. He didn't know about it. But he goes, Dad, how foolish was this? How much
Yeah.
greater would the guys have fought if you let them eat?
Yeah.
And he says, because you've done this, son, I'm going to execute you right now. And he would have done it. He actually tries to murder Jonathan in another scenario too.
Yeah.
But the soldiers crowd in around him and they protect him.
Yeah.
And ironically, Saul loses the favor of his military for trying to
Yeah.
kill his own son.
Yeah.
So there is an analogy here of like, you made the vow to kill your son and then you didn't carry it out and the sky didn't fall down.
Yeah.
So maybe if Jephthah had looked at this and said, I made a foolish vow, I'm going to sacrifice something else. I mean, you could even get really litigious. Your husband's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He didn't say whoever, he said whatever. People
Yeah.
aren't things.
Exactly.
Like you could even try and swing it that way or something.
Absolutely. You're like, okay, well, that was the person that came out. The chicken or the favored goat comes out after her. Oh, that's the one I'm going to sacrifice. She's going to cry, but I get to keep
But
her.
he didn't even try.
No,
He just
didn't.
said, sorry, daughter, I got to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, if it was my kid, I'd sacrifice an entire flock of goats
Yeah.
before I even thought about raising a finger against my own kid.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with you. I would have tried to figure out some way about it, but obviously, as you have mentioned, he is not well read in the Torah.
Or he
doesn't-
is and he doesn't care.
That is.
It could be
also true.
worse. He's just a bad guy.
That is true.
Like, because, I mean,
He doesn't want to lose face with his soldiers. He doesn't want to.
as a mom, if
Yeah.
you were in his place and you had made a stupid commitment and your daughter Gwen comes running out of the house and you know the consequence is if I don't sacrifice Gwen, I'm going to die, what would you do?
Oh, I die.
You die,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's not even a question.
Yeah. She
So-
has a future. She was my future. So therefore, she gets to live. I was the idiot.
You were the idiot.
Yes.
Don't make someone else pay for your mistake.
Exactly.
Which, that's not where Jephthah's head was at.
No.
So here we have another example of a bargain.
Yeah.
If you give me victory, I will offer you something that comes out of my house.
Yeah.
Not only does Jephthah not have anything to offer God,
Yeah.
Jephthah offers God something that God doesn't want.
Yeah.
Is it a successful bargain? No, because God remained in control of the victory. He still had nothing. All the same themes apply.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson.
Yeah.
It's a practical example. It's a good illustration of how bargaining can go awry.
Yeah.
When it's about your pride and it's about being selfish.
Yeah.
So we have the first example. where you're operating out of fear. We have the second example where you're operating out of need. We have a third example where we're operating out of foolish pride.
Yep.
Let's go to the fourth example.
Okay.
The fourth example, I would say, is probably the strongest evidence someone who wants to argue for bargaining, not barbecuing, that's Leviticus, but bargaining with God. If you want to bargain with God, here is a good example of it happening in Scripture.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the founding father of our faith,
Yeah.
Abraham.
Yeah.
So Abraham has his nephew, Lot,
Yep.
who is living out near Sodom. Sodom is a very, very Las Vegas-y, bad, Bangkok, Thailand, red light district, awful place.
Yeah.
There is not just sensuality, but there's also violence, injustice, bloodshed. Horrible place.
There's a lot of prosperity there too, because I think that's what brought Lot into it when we're talking about you go your way, you go my way.
It was good land.
It was good land. So,
Yeah.
but it's shiny and you go into it and there's a lot of negative things that happen there too.
Yeah, so Abraham and Lot were shepherding together, and their shepherds actually start fighting each other over territory.
Yeah.
And Abraham says, why don't you strike out on your own? You pick where you want to go. And Lot picks to go towards Sodom.
Yeah.
And Abraham goes the other way.
Yeah.
So Abraham is visited by God and a few of God's servants.
Yeah.
And God warns Abraham, I'll tell you why we're here. We've come to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham just sits here. He's probably thinking about his family, but he's also probably thinking about the sheer humanity.
Yeah.
Like if you told me, if God showed up on my doorstep and said, hey, Ryan, we're going to go destroy LA. LA has some messed up stuff that happens in it. There's a lot of gang violence. There's a lot of sensuality, a lot of crime, a lot of really skeezy stuff. Like when you hear some of these, when you read some of the, or watch some of these documentaries and you read these reports about messed up things happening in the entertainment industry, where does it happen? It happens in LA.
Yeah.
Like you can understand there's some wicked stuff happening in LA, but you'd sit there and go, but it's not there's so many people there.
Yeah.
It's not all wicked. There's good people there too.
Yes.
God, you're not going to wipe out the good with the evil, are you? Like for their sake, will you show mercy?
Yeah.
And that's basically the type of bargaining campaign that Abraham goes on with God. He says, my family's out there. There's got to think of the humanity. Everybody can't be guilty. There's got to be some good people there. And so in Genesis 18:22-33, Abraham tries to haggle with God. He tries to bargain for the city of Sodom. The men turned away and went towards Sodom, but Abraham remained standing before the Lord. Then Abraham approached him and said, will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked. Treating the righteous and the wicked alike, far be it from you. Will not the judge of the earth do right? The Lord said, if, two-letter word, very important.
Yeah.
If I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake. Then Abraham spoke up again. Now that I have been so bold as to speak to the Lord, you haven't struck me down with thunder and lightning yet.
Yes.
Though I am nothing but dust and ashes, we have humility like we saw with Hannah. What if the number of the righteous is 5 less than 50? Will you destroy the whole city for a lack of 5 people? If I find 45 there, he said, I will not destroy it. Once again he spoke to him, what if there are only 40 there? He said, for the sake of 40, I will not do it. Then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak. What if only 30 can be found there? He answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Abraham said, now that I've been so bold as to speak to the Lord, what if only 20 can be found there? He said, for the sake of 20, I will not destroy it. Then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10 can be found there? He answered, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he left, and Abraham returned home. So Abraham comes to God and says, okay, they really are at the bargaining table here.
Yeah, they are.
Let's sit down, 50. Will you spare the city for 50 people? And God says, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
What about 45? Reasonable. 40. Okay. 30. Okay. 20. Okay. Final offer are 10 lives worth sparing the city. And God says, if I find 10 there, I will spare the city. What's the implication? The
implication there is that If, sorry, the airplane.
It's okay. We are located right next to an airport, so we hear airplanes and it messes with us all the time.
Yeah, it
So,
does.
but what's the implication here in terms of, okay, God is warning Abraham that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Abraham says, what if?
Uh-huh.
And God says, okay.
Yeah. Well,
Did God change his mind? Did anything change?
nothing changed. And it's one of those things that God was going to set out what he was going to do. There is an understanding that Abraham comes to with if there is this many, yes, God would. But notice that he doesn't go any further. He doesn't get to 5. He doesn't get to 3 because God already knows what he's going to do. He knows how many he's going to find in there.
Yeah. So God sits here and says, okay, I'm going to go destroy the city. And God already has a sense of justice in himself, obviously. Abraham is still learning that.
Yeah.
This conversation is revelatory about God's justice because the pagan gods, they might have struck Abraham down for even asking.
Yeah.
But they would kill a city for 50 righteous people.
Yeah.
I mean, we could even make the utilitarian argument, right? Isn't that what the United States did in World War II?
Yeah.
We drop a bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
What if there were 50 righteous people there? I guarantee you there were.
Yeah.
No, their lives aren't as valuable as American lives.
Yeah. The ends justify the means.
It's utilitarianism.
Yeah.
So even then, God's saying he's not a utilitarian.
Yeah.
He operates according to what is right and just.
Yeah.
If I find 10 people there, God already knows there's not 10 people there.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting about this example of bargaining is that Abraham offers something very different to God than what the people came before him did. Because Jacob offered freedom, which was silly.
Yeah.
Hannah offered service.
Yeah.
Jephthah offered a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Abraham offers back to God God's own reputation and character.
Yeah.
What will people say? Surely the judge of all the earth will judge justly. That's all he offers God. God, think of your reputation.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Moses up on Sinai, pleading for the people of Israel after they sinned with the golden calf.
Yeah.
What will the Egyptians think?
Yeah.
You brought us all the way out into the desert just to kill us. You're the God of justice. You won't do this.
Yeah.
And God says, you're right. I won't do that.
Yeah.
For 50? Nah. 45? Nah. 20? Nah. 10? No, of course, that'd be unjust.
Yeah.
But he still knows what's going to go down.
He does. And it reminds me of the winnowing fork that John the Baptist is talking about. When Jesus is going to come, he is going to sift through this. He is going to find the righteous. And that is what God does when he sends the angels in.
Right.
They find Lot and they take him out. Now, not everybody in Lot's company was righteous.
No, actually, God saves some wicked people.
Yeah.
Because as the story goes, those two guys that go ahead of Abraham and ahead of the Lord, they come to Sodom. The whole city tries to sexually assault them.
Yeah.
And Lot, his righteousness is debatable.
Yeah.
But these angels offer to save Lot, his wife, his 2 daughters, and their husbands.
Yeah.
The husbands mock them for even suggesting that Sodom could fall. They die with the city.
Yeah.
His wife looks back because she can't leave it behind. She dies with the city.
Yeah.
And then his 2 daughters come out, and when Lot and them are hiding in a cave, they sexually assault their father.
Yep. Because they don't feel like they have any hope here.
We need to have sons in order to have value, back to that Hannah thing.
Yes.
And there aren't any good men around, so dad will do. Good grief! They get
Yeah.
dad drunk, and that's what they do. Those are not good people.
No.
So God even saved wicked people
Yeah.
for Lot's sake. And why does he save Lot? For Abraham's sake.
Yes.
So even there, God is being very gracious and merciful,
Yeah.
right?
He didn't have to do that.
No.
It's even if it was within the bargain, it's well under 10.
Yeah, it's well under 10.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I wonder if Abraham had said, what if it's 5? What if it's 1? What if you can find 1 righteous person there? I don't know if Lot would have cut it. I don't know. But we once more find an unnecessary offer being made because Abraham has nothing to offer God. God's already well aware of his justice, his reputation, and that what he's doing falls within those parameters.
Yeah.
God has already decided the course of action he is going to take. So he is not offering something to Abraham that is outside of his will.
Yeah.
And so God remains in control, just as he did in the other examples we gave.
Yes.
These are not the only examples we could evaluate in terms of people trying to bargain with God in the Bible or lack of bargaining, but they do present a good survey of Scripture. And in the end, though people try to bargain with God, the outcome of each situation seems to have already been laid out in God's mind.
Yeah. We also have nothing to actually bargain with.
No.
Where our heart is really determines how we present to God. And in these bargaining moments, you can tell where people are being selfish, where they're being desperate. They want some form of control, which they do not have. And really, the only thing that changes is the relationship we have with God during these moments.
You might be finding yourself in a situation in your life right now where you're coming from a place of fear or insecurity, anger, maybe even if you're honest with yourself, pride, and you want to bargain with God to get what you want or what you think you need. And you can approach God and you can try, but you really have nothing to offer God that isn't already His. A much better approach, I think, is to approach the way Hannah did and the way Abraham did. In Hannah's case, she got what she wanted. In Abraham's case, he didn't. No. And that is part of the reality, that when you come to God, we don't bargain, we ask. Like, when you come to the table and you think you have all these chips, you have all this stuff that you own, even with that, you should already be surrendering and giving it to God, even if God gives you nothing else, because God has given you the gift of life. He's given you every breath. Everything you have is a gift. None of it is truly yours. You're just a steward. You should have already surrendered all that over to God to begin with at the beginning of your relationship with God. Okay, now that you recognize your side of the table is truly empty, and you've only returned what God gave to you back to God. Now from this position of having zero leverage, zero value to offer, at that point, just to look across the table and say, God, can you please help? Understanding you might not get what you want. God will give you what you need. And sometimes if you're approaching God with pride, that means a kick in the pants. Like it's the exact opposite of what you think is going to happen. But if we recognize that our God is gracious and our God is just and our God is going to do what's best for us, if we trust in that, then we can approach the table with humility and we can ask. And sometimes God's answer will be yes, and sometimes it'll be no, but it's asking, it's not bargaining. Humility in these matters is always the best approach.
That's a good conclusion right there.
I mean, and I'm kind of preaching to myself a little bit, not necessarily in this season of life, but in past seasons of life. I still remember the prayer I had with God that led to me coming back here to Hillsboro, Oregon. I was serving at a church in Illinois. I was working part-time, and I was a youth pastor, and I was waiting tables up in Wisconsin, just over the border. I was working 2 jobs. I was feeling very lonely, and I was really struggling. I was trying to do my best. It was my first assignment as a youth pastor. I didn't want to let my kids down. I didn't want to let the church down, but I was really struggling. I remember falling in prayer one night, and I still remember the exact words. Dear sweet merciful God, please just send me home. It's all I want. And I earnestly didn't think God was going to answer. 2 weeks later, my phone buzzed and it was a text message. Hey Ryan, I'd like to put your name in for youth pastor at Hillsboro. Would you let me do it? And it was funny because I was like, you shut up. You got to be kidding me. And it's a story I can tell another day. But over the course of about 4 months, my whole life changed. And I ended up moving back from Illinois to Oregon. I've been here now I'm in my 10th year, 10 years in October. Well, actually, I'm in my 11th year now. But I will have been lead pastor here for 6 years in October. And all along the way, there were moments where I tried to bargain with God. There were moments where God was very gracious with me. There were moments where God was very stern with me. There were moments where I had to just realize that everything was completely out of my control, no matter how much I wanted it to be, and realize I had nothing to offer. But that if I went the direction God wanted me to go, it did work out much, much, much better for me. And honestly, because I was following where God wanted me to go, better for the church that I came to and better for the church that I left. So I'm very grateful that God is patient with us, especially when we try to bargain, because my dad was a haggler at pawn shops and garage sales and all that, and I like to do that too. and realizing I need to save that for the garage sales and the pawn shops and not try to bring that to God too, but just to come to God and say, look, I got nothing I can offer you. I give you everything I have, but it's already yours. And I just want to do what is right and what is best. In this situation, can you help me out? Because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
In my experience, that's the best way to approach anytime you're feeling tempted to bargain with God.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps it up for this episode of the Other Talking Red podcast. If you do have any questions you would like us to consider, please submit them in the comments below this video, or I'm going to flash a banner right here with our email address. You can send them there, and if it's a question that we feel like we can tackle and say something hopefully helpful about, then we'll put our heads together and try to tackle it.
Yep.
But from Jen and me here at the Other Talking Red podcast, thanks for listening in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.